the world is searching for. Here, right here, my dear, I don't have to look no more. In all my days, I hope and I pray for someone just like you, make me feel the way you do. Right on, keep on doing it. 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 I found what the world is searching for. Here, right here, my dear, I don't have to look no more. In all my days, I hope and I pray for someone just like you, make me feel the way you do. Right on, keep on doing it. 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 I found what the world is searching for. Here, right here, my dear, I don't have to look no more. In all my days, I hope and I pray for someone just like you, make me feel the way you do. Right on, keep on doing it. Right on, keep on doing it. Right on, keep on doing it.
Almighty, this shit Stewie, boy.
What up, everybody? Y'all know what time it is, man. It is been a while, man, but it is what time is it? 7 o'clock on a Tuesday, man. So y'all know what time it is, man. It's time for the Saul G Show. I'm your host, Kung Fu Hebrew Saul G, coming at you with a special edition. Even though we had a couple of special edition shows, but this one means a little bit more to me. But I got a special guest in the building. I'm gonna go ahead and unmute him, and hopefully, I don't know. It sounded like he was just crunching up and stepping on a whole bunch of potato chips and something else a little bit earlier. But yeah, you can go ahead and unmute yourself whenever you're ready there, good sir, because we about to get into it, man. I want to welcome nephew to the show, man. We're going to be talking about this college football playoff, man. That's what we talk about tonight. How you doing there tonight, sir?
I'm doing well. I'm glad to be on. Glad to be on first time. So thank you.
Oh, yeah, that's right, man. Yeah, I mean, well, this is it ain't, like I said, ain't no pressure, man, because we just gonna be up here talking like we was talking on the phone, and man, we gonna get it in, man, because the name of the show is the college football playoff is rigged. So first thing I need to do is I need to get a little something playing in the background so we just don't have that empty air. But I'm gonna turn it down, make sure it ain't blasting. All right. So before we get started, man, introduce yourself to the people. Let them know who you are, who's your team, how you feeling about college football. Just any information you want to give out right now, man. Go ahead and let them know.
Yeah, so I usually go by E Money, but my name is Ethan. Just excited to be here. My team is Alabama. Of course, right now, not the happiest about the current situation that we're in, but we got to deal with it. I still feel like we are currently one of the best teams in college football. Sometimes you have down games, but here's the thing, right? The college football playoffs is supposed to be about the top 12 teams, and I consider us the top 12 team. If you can tell me there are 11 other teams that can beat us on a neutral field, we can talk about it.
That's what I'm talking about, man. That's what I'm talking about. Strong out the gate today. That's what I'm talking about. That's what we gonna need the whole show. Hold on. Get my cushion out the way here. Put that, getting old, man. Gotta put that in the back a little bit. There we go. All right. Yeah. But just for y'all who don't know, y'all should know if you've ever watched the show, if you've ever watched any of my content, you know who my team is. Quack, 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 quack. Number one Oregon Ducks, the most consistent. Keyword consistent team in college football, hands down this year. 13-0 Big Ten champs. Pac-12 came out strong this year, man. Shout out to the Pac-12 for shout out to Arizona State, because everybody's talked about how whack the Pac-12 was, right? Colorado came out the Pac-12. No shot at this, ain't no shot at Dion. I love y'all, but y'all came out the Pac-12 and y'all struggled that first year. Arizona State was at the bottom. You know what I'm saying? Arizona State came straight into the Big 12 where Colorado went and won the whole thing. So whatever y'all got to say out there about that, I'm pretty sure y'all gonna be hating in the comments, but it's just facts. So whatever Arizona State did, Colorado should have been able to do the same thing. But it's all good. Like I said, man, it's Eugene, it's Oregon Ducks, it's Nike swagged up, man. We trying to get our first championship this year, but we gonna get into it, man. So, hey, went down the wrong hole. Pause. Let me do something real quick. Before we get into it, man, I just want to let y'all know the Sargy Show is brought to you by Southern Fusion Bistro. So like I said, it's out there off of Noah's Ark Road out there in Jonesboro, Georgia. You can order their food off of Uber Eats, DoorDash, and off their website. All right, man. So we back. Let's get right back into it. All right. So, nephew, you still there, man? Or you had to take a break, man? You all right?
Oh no, I'm always here. Okay. I'm just letting you take
all right.
the lead. Like I said, I'm new to this, so
no doubt. We're gonna get into it, man. Now you gotta get into the brand, so you gotta make sure, we got a lot of stuff over here. So if I say something, see over there where it says brand, if I be like, man, we've been punishing people and stuff like that. Got a lot of pause-worthy material over there. You know what I mean? So
of course.
It's a lot of stuff over here, man. Just make sure you don't hit the wrong. Well, it ain't nothing wrong too here, but probably should have labeled it. But here you go. You got the good old.
What are your thoughts?
Pause first.
So you got the good old pause over here.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's wild.
So how do I hit him? I don't see him.
If you see brand, we'll get into that in a second. I'll get you on a break. But let's go ahead and get right into it, man, because I want to make sure that we get this show deserved. Because a lot of people say just because you got a favorite team, that's gonna be biased. I want to keep the bias as far out of it. I know we talking sports. I know we talking college football.
Of course.
I know people got their biases and things like that. But let's get into it, man. This is what the committee chose from 1 all the way to 12. Now, how do you want to start it? Do you want to start from the bottom, from the top, or do you want to start from the top, from the bottom? Pause. Do you want to,
No
where you want to
diddy.
start? You want to start at number 1, or you want to start at number 12, and then we can break it down from each team from
Yeah.
there. Where you want to start?
Well, let's start it easy. Let's go ahead and start off with Oregon being number 1. We already
Okay.
know, like you said before, most consistent team this year. They've had, you know, like any team, you're gonna have some type of struggles. There's no such thing as perfection. I don't care if you're in NFL, college football, high school football. You can be perfect and still not be perfect. So, you know, Oregon easy number 1, of course, not even a question.
Okay, and I'm gonna agree, but this ain't biased. But what we got to make sure we break down when we go through all of these teams is that strength of schedule. So
Yep.
let's get into that, because a lot of people see it and they look at it because they got this strength of record, and we got to get some more. We probably got to go to Chat GPT what that actually means. Because honestly, do you know what strength of record means?
Yeah, so the way they describe strength of record, especially how ESPN are, of course I consider them Alabama bias, same as Fox News is Republican bias, but so the way they look at it is how good you did against the record or against the schedule that you currently have. So you have your strength of schedule, how strong your schedule was, or how tough your schedule was. Strength of record is then how did you play against that schedule, and where does your record fall at the end of the day versus the other teams that you play against and everybody else in college football.
All right. Well, I'm gonna take your word for it, and if he's wrong, y'all can get him in the comments later on. But let's get that strength of schedule real quick, because Oregon was ranked as the 34th strength of schedule. Let's go to the Oregon year in review. It started off against the Idaho Vandals. You know anything about Idaho?
Yeah, they were all right this year. They weren't great,
Actually,
but they weren't.
Well, let's see, because actually, you can get the Division 2 rankings. I mean, Division 1 AA rankings. You know what I'm saying? So let me see. Do they have a Division 1 AA rank? I know I saw this somewhere because I got some other stuff pulled up. But anyway, I ain't gonna waste time trying to find about Idaho. But anyway, Idaho won 10 games, just so y'all know. So even when they schedule cupcakes, Idaho was a better one. First game of the year, new quarterback Dylan Gabriel. We won. Then we had the game where they said we needed 2 kickoff returns to beat Boise. So we beat Boise. We beat Oregon State. We beat UCLA. We beat Michigan State. We beat Ohio State. We beat Purdue. We beat Illinois, Michigan, Maryland, Wisconsin, Washington, and then Big Ten. Then Penn State in the Big Ten championship. So with that record, that ranked 34th. But to my knowledge, Oregon is the only team, and we will go through it. I'll just say it right now. Oregon is the only team in the country with 1, 2, 3, 4 top college football playoff wins. And that gets you the 34th best schedule. Strength of schedule, allegedly. But we're number 1 in strength of record because we won all our games.
Yeah,
anything about that schedule stick out to you? Because like I said, the 4 teams that we beat, just in case you don't know, Illinois, Boise, Penn State, Ohio State. Those are the 4 top 25. And we are, I believe, the only team with 3 in the top 10. Or actually technically in the top 8. Which would be Penn State, Ohio State, and Boise State. So we're the only one with those, but we got a strength of schedule of 34. Do you think Oregon's strength of schedule should have been higher, lower, or you think it's decent where it's at?
Honestly, from what I'm seeing, I think it's where it needs to be at, because you got to think about it like this, right? So you have those teams, but then you also got teams that weren't great this year, like Wisconsin. They were all right. They did good against Ohio State, but they weren't great. You have Purdue, who was terrible this year. Oregon State was terrible. UCLA was terrible. Michigan State was terrible. So you got those teams there. And I mean, like I said, you got 4 really good wins, which still keeps you in you want to be in the top 30, top 35, strength of schedule wise. But at the end of the day, you guys still won every single game, so that's easy. Okay, strength of record number 1, but strength of schedule. If you just said you had to start from the beginning, I can still name about 10 to 15 other teams who could have had the schedule and probably had the same record.
How many teams you say you could have named?
At least 10 teams that could have had this schedule.
Man,
yeah.
10, wait. I could see 4. But first of all, you said 10?
That doesn't make sense.
What do you mean 10 teams could have went through Oregon's schedule? All right, well, since you brought it up, Give me
Okay.
10 teams that could have went through that schedule.
All right, I'm gonna leave Alabama out because you, like I said, that's my team, so I'm not even gonna put my bias on there. I'm gonna go
Uh-huh.
Georgia, Texas,
Uh-huh.
Penn State. Which Penn State? Yes, they did lose to Ohio State, but if Ohio State and Penn State played again, I feel like Penn State could go ahead and take care of business, especially how they played against Oregon last week.
Sir, with all due respect, you just said if they had our schedule, they could have went 13-0 and Penn State lost to Ohio State. So you got two teams.
As I said, this is we talking hypothetical. I'm just saying, start from the start.
Hypothetically, they lost to Ohio State, so they out of there.
Okay,
so you got two teams: Ohio State, Texas.
Okay. All right, so I got Ohio State, Georgia, Texas, South Carolina.
Wait, how you put Ohio State in there? They would have had to play us and lose.
Nah, I think they could take care of y'all. I think they could take care of you.
They was on our schedule. You can't put a team on our schedule.
They would they be on your schedule or would they have somebody else?
No, you said that could beat our schedule, so we would technically have to play ourselves if you sub somebody in.
Okay. So all right, so I'm gonna take y'all out then, take out Ohio State. We're just gonna take everybody out the Big Ten then. Just to make
Okay, there we go. So you got Texas. Wait,
Texas,
how about no? And you can't even use Indiana because they lost to Ohio State. Texas, Alabama, Georgia. That's 3 teams. Who else? You said 10.
South Carolina, Tennessee. South Carolina taking care of y'all schedule.
South Carolina. See, this is this is the thing about people that have an SEC team. This is what annoys me. Nobody in the SEC want to claim South Carolina until they're good, and then now all of a sudden it's like, well, South Carolina's kind of tough this year, so yeah, they could. South Carolina has South Carolina ever been 13-0?
Yes.
Man, we gotta look that up. Let me pull my chat GPT up, man. Go ahead, but keep saying because I gotta check this stuff you talking about, man. You talking about South Carolina? I think you just naming the top. Just say the top teams in the SEC. So let me just do it for you. Is it Texas, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, South Carolina, Ole Miss? Are you going to put Florida in there? Could they have went 13-0? Okay,
if their quarterback there the whole season, maybe.
Texas A&M, could they have done it?
No.
Okay, so that's still at 6. What about Missouri?
No.
Okay, so that's 6 teams. All right, where are you getting these other 4 from?
So I might be honest. I'm gonna have to bite my tongue early in my career online. I'm gonna keep it at least 5. I could name 10 if they were to play at their best, but I don't. I'm gonna bite my tongue and say 5, at least 5.
Okay, so you're saying 5 teams. All right, and they just happen to all be in the same conference. Wow, yes. Shocker. All right. The University of South Carolina, commonly referred to as the Gamecocks, has never completed an undefeated football season in its history. But because they're 8-3 this year, now they can. Nice. I love that SEC bias. It's a beautiful thing, man. It's a really, really beautiful thing. But let's go. Shout out to Evan the reporter. He said Rich Rodriguez, per West Virginia beat reporters, has agreed to return to West Virginia. He was at Jacksonville State, which we're going to get to in a second. But 34th, I don't know. I mean, honestly, the strength of schedule don't really matter because I'm like, we played the schedule that we supposed to have. It's not our fault. Michigan was terrible. And it's also not our fault that Washington was terrible. We played both teams that were in the national championship last year, and they had mediocre season. So it is what it is. But the thing about it, and this is what everybody got to understand about college football, everybody can't be good. You can't play somebody tough every week. It's impossible. I don't care, even if you don't schedule any cupcake games. Somebody's gonna be at the bottom and somebody's gonna be the top. God dang it. I gotta keep pausing.
What are your thoughts?
Pause. First of all, pause.
So, okay. So I'll accept Oregon 34. I'm not tripping. That's cool. All right. Now let's go to the number 2 team. And this is where we already talked, but we got to do it live. I have a huge discrepancy with Georgia having the number 1 strength of schedule in the nation. I think that is insane.
I agree.
And let's go over this Georgia number 1 ranked strength of schedule. Okay. They started the season off with Clemson. Then they played Tennessee Tech. Then they barely beat Kentucky by 1 point. They lost to Alabama. They beat Auburn. They beat Mississippi State. They beat Texas. They beat Florida. They lost to Ole Miss. They beat Tennessee. They beat UMass. They barely beat Georgia Tech, and it took them 8 overtimes. And yes, I know some of these things I'm going a little bit because it's a lot of Georgia fans on my timeline, if you can't notice. So I'm going to go in on Georgia a little bit. It's no disrespect to the home team, but your fans are annoying. And then you beat Texas in the SEC championship by a field goal.
Yep.
So I would like to explain why this is not the toughest schedule in college football. Number one, who did you beat? And this is going to be the new standard, and we're going to start it here on the show, and you let me know if you agree with it.
Okay.
If you're new to a conference, you're not officially in that conference until you win that conference's championship.
I like it, but hey, it takes time. It takes time. We still got people in our conference who have never won it, and they've been here the whole time.
Absolutely. That's what I'm trying to say. So you got to at least be there for 10 years. It's got to be 10 years or something like that, right? You got to be there for a little minute. Because, like, Mizzou ain't never won it. But I think at least Mizzou has, or let's put it like this. You got to at least play in the championship to matter. Because at least Missouri has played in one. So Missouri is officially an SEC team. All right.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is Texas now, because they played in the SEC championship, they're officially. Oklahoma still ain't. All right. We're still waiting on Oklahoma to show up as an SEC team. But we'll give Texas. But before Texas made it to the SEC championship, they were still a Big 12 team. So my question is, when I'm looking at this Georgia schedule, who are they beating that you would say, oh, wow, they didn't even have to play that tough South Carolina team that you wanted to brag about?
Yeah. I would say the only people they really played this year is Tennessee, Texas, Alabama, and Ole Miss. They got the four.
And they were 2-2 in those games.
That's
and then
correct.
if you want to count Clemson, because now you want to count Clemson now that they won the ACC. But if Miami would have beat Syracuse, will we really still be even talking about Clemson right now?
No.
So then my whole thing is now Georgia fan. Oh, we beat Clemson. Congratulations. So this is what we're going to say. And this was my whole thing, right? Because when you do the strength of schedule, it seems like they don't understand the position of the teams that are having the schedules like measured. And what I mean by that is it is more difficult for Tennessee Tech to play Georgia than Georgia to play Tennessee Tech. That makes sense, right? That's very logical, sensical thing to say. I mean, it makes sense, right? Yeah. So your strength of schedule means who you played, not who played you, if that makes sense. So you can't get credit for Kentucky. You can't get credit for Auburn. You can't get credit for Mississippi State. You can't get credit for UMass. You can't get credit for Tennessee Tech. So that's 5 teams on your schedule right now you can't get credit for. You played some top teams and you lost to Ole Miss and Alabama. And then the only top team that you beat was technically Texas and Tennessee. So we'll give you those. So you're 2-2 against the top teams. Now, the part that's bothering me about this is, let me go ahead and go to my ESPN thing real quick. And I want to see who has the second hardest strength of schedule. So if I do it by strength of schedule, right? Number 2, they said was Mississippi State. Okay. Now, let's review Mississippi State's, and this is who I say should have the number 1 toughest strength of schedule. All right. Well, not number 1. This is based on how they did it with Georgia. They play Eastern Kentucky, Arizona State, Toledo, Florida, Texas, Georgia, Texas A&M, Arkansas, UMass, Tennessee, Missouri, and Ole Miss. And in my opinion, ladies and gentlemen, that is easily the toughest schedule in college football, because the only team that they played who did not have a winning record was the same team that Georgia played that didn't have a winning record, and that's UMass. But every single team that I just named, from Eastern Kentucky all the way to Ole Miss, had a winning record. What are your thoughts?
I mean, it just makes sense. I mean, and then you also look at it as well. So when you look at Georgia and who they played, it's not just the fact of you had that Mississippi State had tougher opponents. You have a worse team. So on top of that, Georgia, you have a great team. You have one of the top recruiting classes almost every year. You can't tell me that you don't have a better team even being able to face those other teams than Mississippi State does, which automatically for me makes your schedule somewhat weaker if you already have the better components in order to play, if that makes sense.
Right, and that's my point. So the problem with not giving Mississippi State number one is, let's go. Is Eastern Kentucky a tougher team than Tennessee Tech? Based on their records this year, yes. Arizona State, they are now the Big 12 champs. Based on what the committee said, Arizona State is a better win than Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
Toledo, 8-5, is going to be better. Who is to be their other out-of-conference game? Now, I'm not going to say Toledo is a better game than Georgia Tech, just because the ACC is still better than the MAC. They played Florida. Florida, I think, is either 8-5 or 7-5. They played Texas. They played Georgia. They played at Texas, at Georgia. Then they had Texas A&M at home. They had Arkansas, UMass, Tennessee, Missouri, and Ole Miss. So based on their schedule, they played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams in the top 25.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And they're still not ranked number 2. But let's keep seeing this ESPN bias. Now they're going to say Kentucky had the 3rd hardest schedule. So pause that real quick, and then we're going to move on, and we're going to talk about the rest of the team. Just real quick, let's see who Kentucky played. Kentucky played Southern Miss, South Carolina, Georgia, Ohio, Ole Miss, Vanderbilt, Florida, Auburn, Tennessee, Murray State, Texas, and Louisville. And they're saying that's the 3rd toughest.
That's all right schedule.
I mean, the only reason why it's all right is because Vanderbilt and South Carolina were decent this year. And Kentucky was the one that actually was terrible. But this bottom line is, when y'all even look at these strength of schedules and things like that, just don't go and say, oh, well, we had the toughest strength of schedule, and then you don't even compare it to any other teams, because it don't even make no sense, right?
But here's the thing, right? This is what I've been talking about the whole time, though. This is why sometimes I do lean into a little bit, and that's why most people lean to a little bit of that SEC bias, because you notice one thing about this strength of schedule thing right here. The top, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams are SEC. Rounded out the number 10, you got LSU. So in the top 10, just by itself, has 6. And then right outside of that, you got Texas A&M.
Wait. Just on that bias strength of schedule is what you're talking about, right? You're not talking about.
So that's why I have no bias, because that's why sometimes. Because if you look at strength of schedule, SEC teams, they have that top 15.
But they're giving them credit for playing each other. That's my point. They already gave them the high, like Oklahoma's in there. They gave them credit for having a high, because look at this. Where's Texas at on that?
Texas is at number 20.
See what I'm saying? So who did Oklahoma play that so much? This last one, then we're gonna keep it.
Let me click Oklahoma real quick.
So Oklahoma, Temple, Houston, Tulane, Tennessee, Auburn, Texas, South Carolina, Ole Miss, Maine, Missouri, Alabama, LSU. Why is that tougher?
It's just look at the last few games. They got LSU, Alabama, Missouri, Ole Miss, South Carolina in 5 out of the last 6 games.
LSU was good this year.
You got Texas. Yeah, LSU was ranked in the top 25 for most of the season.
They're not now. Okay, LSU was 8-4. Okay, I see the records to the right. All right, so LSU was 8-4. We know what Alabama was. Maine.
You got Missouri as well. You got Missouri, you got Ole Miss, and you got South Carolina.
All right, so hold on. So, now that you brought it up, we're going to talk about them in a second. But we'll get to Texas when we get to Texas. We'll look at their strength of schedule. So, right now, based on 1 or 2, do you see either one of these teams winning the college football playoff? Yes or no? Oregon or Georgia? Between
which 2 teams?
The top 2 teams. Will Oregon or Georgia win the national championship?
I can see Oregon winning the championship. I don't see Georgia, especially if you got Carson Beck hurt.
You don't think that helps Georgia?
Huh?
I think it helps Georgia, kind of.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, Beck is not as good as what they say he is, but I still believe he's better than their backup quarterback.
Yeah, because we're gonna be able to kind of breeze to the rest of these teams, but I just feel like Oregon and Georgia are the ones that are the most quote unquote controversial. So we'll be able to breeze through everybody else. But let's go. All right, number 3, Boise State. Number 1, do you agree with their ranking?
No.
Where would Boise State have been ranked on yours?
if I were to have to actually rank them where they need to be, because you got to think about right now, they're ranked number 9. I would have had them further back because one, just the strength of schedule, they haven't really played many teams. They did play well against Oregon, but still first game of the season. But I would have put Boise back.
Second game of the season.
Second game of the season. Sorry, second game of the season, which is still early on in the season as well. But for Boise State, where they're ranked at number 9, it should be further back. But based off how the committee puts the conference championships in there, I can't change that. So where they're at, they're cool.
See, that's the problem. I don't agree with the conference champions getting that 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't believe in that. I just believe it should go. It should be like the basketball, right? It don't matter. Like, you know what I mean? I went to Hampton, so we was in the MEAC. So that's a Division I basketball conference. So if we win, we might get sneaked in as a 16 seed to have to play Duke the first round, but we still make it, right? Or we might. I think we won one time. We beat Iowa State. Shout out to my boy TA, man. You know, we beat shocked the world when I was in school, man. We beat Iowa State back in 2001. But anyway, y'all can look it up, man. Shout out to HU, man, the real HU, not the one in DC. But you get to go, as they say, you get to go dancing. I don't appreciate them skipping people over. That's my problem. That's my major issue with it. Because if you're ranked number 9, you're still going. So why do you get to skip the line? Because you won your you won the Mountain West. So let's just look at Boise State's schedule real quick. Shout out to y'all. Y'all beat Georgia Southern. Y'all came all the way to Statesboro. And y'all won. Georgia Southern, Oregon, Portland State, Washington State, Utah State, Hawaii, UNLV, San Diego State, Nevada, San Jose State, Wyoming, Oregon State, UNLV. So out of all of those games, where's your win?
Oregon. That's it.
A close loss to Oregon and UNLV because they were ranked in the top 25.
But here's the thing, right? And I know we keep saying sometimes strength of schedule matters, sometimes it don't. But if we're looking at strength of schedule, they were number 78th.
That's what I'm saying. So shout out to your former old coach or whatnot, but he said something that I think they need to look at from now on. They're going to have to decide what games matter. Because all games are not going to be weighted equally the same way all conferences. We can't talk about the MAC, and it's no disrespect to the MAC, but you know where you're playing. You understand what I'm saying? The same way Oregon's in the Big Ten now, we know who they're playing. The Mountain West is going to form this pseudo Pac-12 next year. So it is what it is, right? You can't just say, oh, we're in the Pac-12, which is basically the renamed Mountain West, because all of the West Coast state schools are going to be in the Pac-12. You see what I'm saying? So they might try to bump it back up to a Power 5, which would be dumb in my opinion. But just think about that. The 78th schedule has a 3rd seed bye, and we already named who they played. Portland State, Washington State, Utah State, Hawaii, San Diego, Nevada, San Jose State, Wyoming, Oregon State. Those just aren't good teams.
If anything, what they really need to do is make it, I would say almost like this, just change it to a format, still call it college football playoffs. It needs to be just the expanded version of the BCS. Hey, how many votes you got? Were you the best team? 12 teams, championships don't matter.
Or you know what I think they should also do? Now, I like the conference champions getting in because you got the bragging rights. So that way everybody can say, even though no disrespect to like the American and the MAC and Kennesaw State's in the Sun Belt, no disrespect, right? But everybody shouldn't get in. But I'm for a play-in game. You have like a 12 plus 2. So then, or like a 12 plus, actually you can have a 12 plus 4. And then that's when you let the Sun Belt, the American, the MAC, and who else would be left out? Well, the Mountain West, they already kind of bumped them up a little bit. I think there's a 4th conference I'm forgetting. Whichever one is Sun Belt, American, MAC. What's the other one?
I can't remember. But I like the idea. But see here, I'm the type person. I don't like the playing games. It's similar to like the NBA. You've done everything you're supposed to do up to the end of the season, and I got teams that probably aren't as good, but now I got to face those people who are technically outside of the top 12 now at this point.
Yeah, I'm just trying to let everybody let everybody eat at the table. But now that you thought about it, Yeah, y'all just got to try to just get into a tougher conference. I'm sorry.
Now, what about this though? I could see
Okay.
something like this where you can win your top four spots, go to just your best teams. But if you're outside of, let's say, the top 12 or a little bit further back, similar to ACC, you know what I'm saying? What you can do is we can get you up to number 12, but that is the 12, let's say 12, 11, and 10 are the furthest that you can be put in if you're already outside the top 12, but you win your college champion or I
Yeah,
don't even know
yeah,
why
yeah.
I mess up on that. But you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get you. Because what I'm thinking about is, let me just go to it because I don't even know why I should just went to it because I got it's gonna bother me now that I don't know. So these are the conferences. You got the American, the ACC, the Big 12, the Big 10, Conference USA. That was the one I couldn't think of. Conference USA. And that's Jacksonville State, Sam. I'm not going to go through them. Kennesaw State is in Conference USA, by the way. So that was the other one I was thinking about, like the smaller ones. So that would be Conference USA, the American, the MAC, and the Sun Belt. So they could find a way for those 4 teams to play. And then, like you said, maybe they're fighting for one spot. But at the same time, I feel like that should only activate if one of them go undefeated. And they got to be ranked in the top 25. So there's got to be a qualifier to it.
Exactly.
Like, for example, undefeated Tulane this year. I think for a while, James Madison was undefeated. If you have a team like that might be able to hang, I'm not saying they're going to be able to hang once they really, really get it, but let's give them a shot. I wouldn't be completely mad at that.
Now, what I do think needs to change next year, if whether you win or lose your conference championship, if your conference is not ranked inside of the top 12, you shouldn't be allowed into the college football playoffs for your whole conference.
I don't have no... Yeah, I mean, but that's the whole thing. Okay, see, the issue that I'm going to have with that is it's going to sound good. Like I always say, it's going to sound good until it happens to you. But you're already in the SEC. That's what I'm saying. You already got the SEC bias, so you already know it's not going to happen because it's never going to. Well, we've never seen a season where everybody in the SEC is going to be 6-6 or 7-5, and then they're like, oh, well, you know what they say, we cannibalize these. I don't want to hear it. You know what I'm saying? So let's just keep it simple. Let's let all the conference champions go from the Power 4. Right, and then those other ones, we let them work it out. So we both disagree that Boise shouldn't have been ranked that high, and that's just one thing that I wanted the committee to understand, so they wouldn't even have had all these problems. If you put the best 12 teams in, then it don't matter, right? Because at the end of the day, you will know where you're ranked. So if you got to get slid out, right? Because a conference champion has to slide in, right? Then it is what it is. Yeah. But at least it wouldn't have never, because like my whole thing is
my bad. I might
you do that. Oh no, you got. I didn't know if you meant to do that. But like the problem is the problem is this: when you're looking at this and you're trying to analyze this thing and everything, right? And you're saying, see, like for example, Miami should have never been 12. Alabama should have never been 11. Right? They should have ranked every team where they deserve to be. If Arizona State was going to be up there, they should have been up there. But to go from 16 to 4 is crazy. You understand what I'm saying? Because all you did was win your conference, and it's just one game. So now you're actually putting more emphasis on the conference championship game than you are really doing the whole season. So that's another problem. That's the reason why I agree. If Arizona State was in the top 12 before, they have something to say. But real quick, since that's beeping real quick, let me go fix that. And let's go. We're going to go to a quick commercial break. All right, I should be back and not beeping now. But yeah, my main thing is this, and this is one thing we got to understand because who you play matters. But at the end of the day, these conference biases have to stop because you should be able to look at some of these teams and realize which team is better. Like, I want to say the SEC is, I got to give it to y'all another year in a row because I don't remember when y'all played Wisconsin, but like Alabama like punished Wisconsin. And then when Oregon played them, like we barely got up out of there with a win. Yeah. So I don't know what that means. I'm not just going to me, it's all these different things that are going to come into play, right? The style of play, it's your strength versus weakness, and it's all about matchups too, right? Yeah. The reason why we struggle with Boise State is because they got a Heisman Trophy winner at running back, and for some odd reason, even though it's coming, yo, it's coming, Eugene, we gonna fix it, but we kind of can't stop the run at times, right? So if you have a dynamic running back, that could be problematic. That's why it's certain teams in the college football playoff, I'm like, we would have issues against them. We saw it against Penn State. The only thing about Penn State is like we just had to make a couple of extra plays more than they did. But at the end of the day, the one thing I do like about this year, everybody is beatable.
Oh, yeah. Now, let me ask you a question, though. Do you think if we're going to play Boise State again, do you think it would be as close?
No, because we already know what they're going to do now. And nobody, and GT or whatnot, you can say that they're also playing better, but the bottom line is, and all the people on my Facebook know what it is, man. The only people we give up a lot of points to were people in the top 8. That's it. Boise, Ohio State, Penn State. That's it.
I will say this. I don't think Boise would score as many points as they played you guys again, but you still got to remember. Genty, great running back, not taking nothing against him. You played terrible teams all year. I don't know what y'all expected.
But that's my point.
You put a great running back against terrible schools.
And see, and this real quick, because like it's my show, so I can keep showing my Oregon bias a little bit. Do y'all understand? And y'all always say Oregon never shows up when we need to. We showed up and blew out that Jameis Winston Florida State team that was stacked and undefeated when they played us. But have y'all seen that Ohio State team that we lost to? I don't care if they had a third-string quarterback. That was Ezekiel Elliott. That was Michael Thomas. That was Eli Apple. Go back and look at that ridiculous team that we played. The Ohio State team was great. And that was one of them few years that Michigan State was good and they actually beat Ohio State that year. And then everybody knows the Oregon team that lost to Cam Newton. And if you like that Cam Newton Auburn team, insane. Just go back and look at all the players in the NFL, not anymore, but that made the NFL from that Auburn team. So yes, we have lost 2 national championships, but we have lost against generational teams. Now, this is the one thing I will say, and I hate to say it. Well, I'll say it. I'm gonna save it for later on. We go through our predictions and we go all the way through the bracket, all the way to the national championship. But all I want to say is this: teams that go undefeated and win it all normally are generational teams. And then I'm just going to leave it at that, but we'll get to that. So right now we're at Boise State, right? And then, like I said, the rest of these teams pretty much going to get blown through, pause, because it's just this is what it is, man. Like there's not really a lot to speak on them. All right, so number 4 is Arizona State. Now, Arizona State was a Pac-12 team last year. They came into the Big 12, won the Big 12 their first year. But you got to remember, what's the Big 12 without Texas and Oklahoma? Not much, right?
Yeah.
We expect go ahead.
But then again, once again, this is where it comes into that thing where I talked about it. If your team, because you got to remember, right now they got Arizona State ranked at number 12, but coming into that game against Iowa State, they were ranked 15th and 16th, both of those 2 teams together. So you jump from there all the way to 4 because Clemson is behind you at 17, 18. That doesn't seem right to knock other teams out of the play because you just skipped over Ole Miss, South Carolina, Alabama, Miami, SMU, Boise, pretty much, well, not Boise, sorry, Texas, Penn State, SMU, Notre Dame, Indiana. You skipped over all those teams to then go to number 4, yet you're ranked 10-plus spots behind most of those teams.
Right, and then let's see who Arizona State played this year. Wyoming, Mississippi State, Texas State, Texas Tech, Kansas, Utah, Cincinnati, Oklahoma State, UCF, Kansas State, BYU, Arizona, and Iowa State. So once again, I don't think the Big 12 is. To me, the Big 12 is not that great without Texas and Oklahoma. Those were your, as they would say, those were your strongest people. Those were like, the ones that you could push to the front, of your conference. The same way it was Oregon and USC and Washington, and sometimes Utah in the Big 12. I mean, in the Pac-12, they would say, okay, these are our 4 strongest teams: SEC, Alabama, LSU, Georgia. Who's 4th?
Georgia, Arizona
Georgia.
State.
No, I'm sorry. It's Georgia. I'm talking about Georgia, Alabama. I'm just saying when you put like your top teams to the front of your conference. So I'm saying it's Alabama, LSU, Georgia. Who's that 4th team?
We could put. So I mean, like I said, I feel like Texas is there, so Texas gets to have it for right.
Well, I was talking about before Texas got there.
Before Texas got there, you always had a mix in between Texas A&M, Ole Miss, and Auburn when they decide to show up. And Tennessee likes to be there randomly every 10 years or so. It seems like.
Okay. But you get what I'm saying? So when Oklahoma and Texas, it enhanced it. But see, when they enhanced the SEC, they just totally, to me, gutted the Big 12. You understand what I'm saying? So that's the reason why, I don't agree with these rankings, because I don't believe you should skip the line just because you won your conference, because who you play matters, right?
Yeah.
So Arizona State, we don't really like your schedule. So now let's go to 5. Let's talk about Texas. Because remember, this Texas team that we're about to talk about, based on what we were talking about earlier, they had you said the number 20, right?
Yeah.
The number 20th strength of schedule. So let's see, who did Texas play this year? And Texas played Colorado State, Michigan, University of Texas San Antonio, UL Monroe, Mississippi State, Oklahoma, Georgia, Vanderbilt, Florida, Arkansas, Kentucky, Texas A&M. And that's 20. Because they're out of conference games with Colorado State, Michigan, University of Texas San Antonio, and UL Monroe. Okay. I guess so are you saying that they avoided the tougher teams of the SEC because they didn't have to play Ole Miss and Alabama?
Yeah, I still feel like that. So for Texas, they didn't have to play our top people except for Georgia. They got a chance to have a pretty decent schedule within the SEC for their first year. And while Oklahoma did have the opposite thing happen to them.
Yeah, I mean, well, if you look at it, the only teams that they had on their schedule, even though they might have been ranked at the time, I don't go by that. In the final ranking, the only teams that were on the schedule that was ranked was Georgia and Texas A&M. Yeah. Everybody else isn't. So
you can always say, hey, Vanderbilt played pretty decently, and they did struggle against Vanderbilt as well, but they still won that game at the end of the day.
Now, just for the record, Texas has the best odds to win the national championship.
Still currently.
Now, this is my conspiracy theory. The top three teams that have the best odds to win also have the hugest fan bases. So I feel like maybe they're trying to sucker them in the bet, because it's Texas. Then next, I'm gonna ask you, guess who do you think second?
Georgia.
No. Take another guess. I'm gonna give you 3 guesses. It's not Georgia.
It's not Georgia, and I feel like a weird guess is probably not Oregon. I'm gonna go Ohio State.
Yes, Ohio State is 2. Georgia has the 3rd best odds, and Oregon is 4th.
Wow. And y'all already beat Ohio State, which is crazy.
We already beat Ohio State, and Georgia already beat Texas, but they got better odds to win it all. So maybe they trying to, sucker in some of the Longhorns and Ohio State people, because Ohio State got to beat Tennessee first. But based off the metrics, Ohio State and Texas have top 3 offenses and defenses.
Yeah.
So based on that, that's why it is, because Georgia and Oregon both have defenses outside of the top 10. I think even Georgia's outside the top 20 this year, which is shocking for Georgia. But
now, question: are we going to go into each individual matchup as well? Because that's something else we got to talk about.
We just breaking them down, and then we gonna go.
Okay.
Who's playing? Who you like? Why? We gonna go all the way through it. So, like I said, we just finished Ohio State. We just got to. I'm sorry, we was at 5, right? So we just talked about Texas. So let's go to 6. Penn State. Anything to say about Penn State? I feel like Penn State is Penn State Penn State is always one game away, one loss away from actually doing something, but they seem to never just like Nike. They don't seem to just do it.
Yeah. I don't trust their coach. They to this point, they've always been, like you said, one game behind. They've always been there, but it's always that one game. And for some reason, Franklin, he can never coach them through the big games. He just can't. They have one. What was it? It was something against Ohio State. They are 1-6 against top 5 opponents since he's been their head coach.
Yeah, I mean, or you can look at it like just historically, they just don't have good rankings against when they play like top competition because Oregon qualified again and then they didn't beat us. So it's just another notch. Now, my question, well, we'll get there in a second. So we're not really going to go through Penn State's schedule. The rest of these teams, we're about to breeze through them because I feel like if you're not really in that top 8 or 9, we'll go to 8 to 9 in Tennessee. Pretty much, we ain't going to be talking about you next week anyway.
Yeah.
So let's go. So we talked about Penn State, Notre Dame. Anything to say about Notre Dame?
Notre Dame is still the team that has
Notre Dame has a top. So Notre Dame has a top 5 offense and defense as well too.
Okay, I think that's fine, but to me, Notre Dame still doesn't play anybody every year because they're not part of a conference. So they'll get to cherry pick who they want to play.
Right, and to me, they play some of the worst teams. Like they got an ACC schedule, but they pick the worst of the ACC.
Mm-hmm.
They don't play the top of the ACC. Like they don't have Notre Dame playing Clemson or Florida, even Florida State. I know they were terrible this year, but they play like Boston College. They'll play like a Boston College, Connecticut. They kind of weasel their way up. You know what? Ain't no point.
Yeah, here I got the schedule right here. I got this.
Pull it up. Who they play?
They play Texas A&M. I'll give them that one. So you got Texas A&M, Northern Illinois, Purdue, Miami, Ohio, Louisville, Stanford, Georgia Tech, Navy, Florida State, Virginia, Army, USC.
Yeah, so they got a top 5 offense and defense, so they're also one of the higher ones to win it all. But I don't believe in Notre Dame. So that's 7. 8, the Ohio State. The only loss they suffered all year. Well, no, they lost to Michigan and they lost to Oregon. Go ahead. I just say Ohio State to me is, and I'll ask you, do you believe Ohio State is the most talented team in the playoffs?
I think they have potential to be anybody in the playoffs, except for if Michigan was there.
But honestly, if you go look at like Mel Kiper's board or whatnot, like they got the number 1 and 2 defensive ends, allegedly, number 1 corner, number 1 safety. All of their wide receivers are going to play in the NFL. Their quarterback is suspect. He was decent at Kansas State, but I like the new Kansas State quarterback anyway. But anyway, and both running backs probably end up in the NFL too. I don't know if there's a more talented team than Ohio State. I just don't know if they can put it all together and still win.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You got something else to say about Ohio State?
No, I feel the same way. I feel like they have the most talented team. It's just whether they're actually going to play up to it. I still, Nick Saban kind of talked about it. These NIL deals got people both playing harder and playing less. So I think people were taking this money like, okay, cool, I'm chill. I'm take care of my body, make this money, make it to the NFL, and I'm good.
But one thing that I am noticing though, but maybe with all this extra money, they can invest in themselves now. Now you can afford. I mean, the highest paid player in college football was Shedeur Sanders, right around $5 million a year, right?
Yeah.
And you can afford to get you a cryo tank. You can afford to get you a hyperbaric chamber. You probably can afford to get you a chef to cook you nothing but all organic meals. Because before, remember, these guys weren't even allowed to have a part-time job. You understand what I'm saying? Because they were worried about, hey, you're a waiter at any restaurant, and then an alumni comes in and you're a 6'8" waiter. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And he comes in and he drops $1,000 on the day, man. Have a good game on Saturday. You see what I'm saying? They're always worried about something like that happening. So now I think that's also something that's going to help the game as well. Because honestly, this has been the best college football I've ever seen this year. Yeah. I think this is the most exciting college football season. But anyway, get to Tennessee. What do you think about them? Can they win it?
Tennessee is going to have to keep relying on their defense. People keep talking about their quarterback, but honestly, just from what you really look at their game.
Nico. know why he just, and this, okay,
Mhm.
I know they're both kind of Hawaii, whatever it
Mhm.
is. I don't, Eastern, some whatever they are, but he reminds me of like Marcus Mariota.
So let me ask you a question real quick.
Sure.
Outside of their easy games, what's the most amount of points do you think Tennessee actually scored this season?
I'm gonna say 17.
So the most they've scored this year was 33, and that's against Mississippi State. Or you could
That's
say Vanderbilt at 36. But Mississippi State's terrible. Vanderbilt was not great this year. So the most they
yeah.
scored against anybody, you say 36, 33, or really you would have to go back to
Oh, I
uh,
thought you meant
yeah.
like outside of my bad. I thought you meant like what
Yeah.
was the most they scored when they. Okay, I get what you're saying now. Okay, I got you.
So yeah, out of their actual like tough schedule games, the most they've scored this year was 33. Or sorry, 28 points this year, and that was against
28
Kentucky.
points.
Kentucky against Kentucky.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say. Like, what was that tough? Okay, I got you. All right, cool.
Yeah, so they
Like
scored
I said,
28
I think
points.
Tennessee's defense and their
Mhm.
running back, that like to me, Tennessee could be a problem
Mhm.
for Oregon if they beat Ohio State. I just don't know if they beat Ohio State. But
Mhm.
one thing I would like to point out is this is what going undefeated gets you as Oregon. You get to play a one-loss Ohio State team in the first. Like as soon as y'all take a break from the bye, you get
Yeah.
a one-loss Ohio State team with all the NFL talent on the team,
Mhm.
right? And we snuck one out because I'll say it. He slid with 1 second left. We don't know if the guy would have made the field goal, but hey, it is what it
Yeah.
is, right? So the only team that you lost to that you think, I mean, not only team, but outside of Michigan, right? We only beat y'all by 1 point, but we
Yeah.
didn't have our best defensive end that game either. But at the end of the day, it's hard to beat a team twice, even though Georgia did it. Some other teams have done it. It's still a difficult thing to do. I don't like it. I don't like it. I feel like those two teams, we should be playing the winner of Boise State and Indiana or somebody. You know what I mean? Like how y'all just gonna
But
give
see, y'all
us
should.
what?
But for me, looking at it this way, as been an Alabama fan, hey, you gotta play the toughest teams. You know what I'm saying? Y'all had it kind of not easy, but y'all done had a little
Wait.
decent run throughout y'all's player.
And I respect that. And see, my whole thing is I want whichever the nation's perception is the better team, that's who I want to play. Because if Oregon, let's say for something crazy happen like Boise, like Georgia gets upset the first round, I don't want Oregon to have like the Georgia versus TCU national championship. Because all I'll be hearing is y'all didn't play nobody. So whatever, all I'm saying is this is why the committee is jacked up. Because there's no way you reward a number one team that you said is the best by having them play, like I said, a one-loss Ohio State team versus a very, very tough Tennessee team with that top 5 defense.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm saying. It's like, and you answer this question, would you rather be an undefeated Oregon have to play? And I'm just saying, we're talking about easy way to get a championship, right? Because remember, nobody's ever going to remember how you won it, and all they're going to say is, did you win? That's all it's going to matter. So the easiest route, well, which one do you think is the easier route? Ohio State or Tennessee? Or if you had lost to Penn State to play SMU the first round and then have to play Boise?
Oh, easy Penn State, usually.
Hold on, let me make sure that's right. So
Yeah,
Penn
you're
State
right.
now.
Penn State
So
and SMU.
So you can get to the Final Four by beating SMU and Penn State.
But then that's the thing, though. If you get your cards right, then you don't have to run to Georgia in the Final Four, though.
I want Georgia. Pause. You understand what I'm saying? Because, to me, it's like you know who Rodney Dangerfield is?
Conda.
Okay, well he was just a comedian. He used to say, "I don't get you get no respect." That's what he always used to say, right? I get no respect. So my thing is, I'm not complaining to have to play Ohio State or Tennessee. All I'm saying is this shows you that the committee didn't get it right, because if that's what going 13-0 and winning arguably the toughest conference this year, which is the Big Ten, because they do have four teams in, the SEC only has 3. So it's arguably, you could say, the toughest conference this year, not historically. SEC people, don't try it. I'm saying this year based on what the committee did. And you reward them by Ohio State and Tennessee. Thanks a lot, committee. But let's go ahead and wrap up this top 10, and then let's go ahead and get into the predictions. Indiana, I'm not talking about Indiana. Their schedule was trash. The only person that they played worth note was Ohio State, and they lost. The only team on their schedule not with a winning record that was ranked in the top 25 was Ohio State, if I'm not mistaken. And
they got blown out.
Yeah. So not talking about Indiana. SMU, I'm not talking about them either because they came to the ACC, which used to get a lot of respect, but since Florida State's no good, it don't really get that much respect. And I think that's something else that we're going to have to stop doing too. We already have these teams that are historically good, so we automatically discredit the conference if your historically good team is not good. You understand what I'm saying? Like, let's say, for example, Mississippi State has a run, and Mississippi State is 13-0. They're still 13-0 in the SEC. You can't just say, well, it's Mississippi State and discredit them. And then or you have like teams that have not been historically good and they go on a run. It's like you discredit the conference because the teams that either you want or you're used to seeing there aren't any good. So let me see.
Exactly, because you got to think about Florida State was absolutely terrible. Clemson was honestly not a good team. They weren't a great team. They were a decent team this year.
Decent
and
team.
You still lost to them. And honestly, they controlled most of that game. 2.5 quarters of that game, y'all still lost.
Absolutely. So we're not talking about SMU or shout out to other nephew checking in, man. Shout out to him, man. Javon in the building, man. All right, man. Before we go to that, man, I wanna lighten the mood a little bit. So I want to show my funniest thing this week. Oh, I didn't talk about the NFL, but anytime I can, it's a day after Monday Night Football. So y'all know who played last night.
They bring the noise. I'm talking about the Dallas Cowboys. What up? How about the boys?
Yeah, so like I said, y'all know I don't talk about them anytime they do it. Yeah. So yeah, this is something funny. Real quick. I think I got 3 funny clips, but this was funny to me. So before we get into who's gonna win it all, this was funny to me.
Don't worry about me. I'll be fine. Gonna find the love of your life. I'll always be with you.
I will always love you.
And this was not really political, even though it has a political person in it. But this one was funny to me. Maybe you're like, this is funny. So if y'all didn't know, I ain't gonna talk about the election, but shout out to our commander-in-chief right now, Joe Biden, because he's funny. And I always told you I don't do politics unless they're funny. And this was hilarious.
And by the way, it's all his fault that we're spending $6 billion in taxpayer money this month to help fight HIV/AIDS.
You gotta love that dude, man. Wait, hold on, what is this? Oh, never. Uh-oh, stop. There we go. Okay, I'll just make sure that one play. Oh yeah, that was just something I put up there. But yeah, man. So let's go ahead and get into it, man. Just real quick, for all of those people who believe Oregon is some type of finesse team, and I remember they used to say this. Oh, will they be able to handle the physical nature of the Big Ten? This is my response.
Haters in the stands, they just can't compare. Lighting up the turf, we ain't never scared. So shut the flock up, we're soaring high. Quack, 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 quack. Together we rise, we'll never fall. Oregon Ducks are giving all. Together we rise, we'll never fall. Oregon Ducks are giving all.
Yeah. So yeah, we not just know this ain't LaMichael James, this ain't that same Oregon Ducks team. But yeah. And if y'all say, oh, y'all didn't play, Illinois is ranked in the top 25, so stop it. And we punished them. So anyway, Now for the time, and y'all can chime in the comment section, man. Let's get right to it. 12 versus 5. Clemson versus Texas. Who wins this matchup and why?
All right, so I'm gonna go easy Texas. Better offense, better defense, more talent on both sides of the ball, better coaching staff. I think currently right now, because you got your boy in Clemson. He already said he's not doing NIL deals. He's not paying players. He's not doing none of it. So automatically, right there, you're already at a big loss because you can't bring in as much talent. And then just all season, they've played tougher teams. They've had a better strength of record and strength of schedule. Texas is just a better overall team.
All right. Well, you know what? I'm gonna do something right here, and I know people are gonna be like, y'all might think I'm crazy, but I'm taking Clemson.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's wild, B.
I am taking Clemson in the first upset because they're the team that is happier to be here. And Dabo Swinney has Jesus on his side. So I'm taking Clemson and Jesus to beat Texas. And because I just don't trust Sarkisian. I didn't trust him when he was with the Falcons. I don't trust him. I don't know. And it's no disrespect, but I don't know how his past didn't follow him and he gets one of the premier coaching positions in the nation. But yeah, man, I think he's going to be hitting the sauce a little bit too much. And look for Clemson to get upset. I'm sorry, look for Clemson to upset Texas. Because the one thing Dabo will have his people ready. And like I said, they might just do just enough to beat Texas. I'm not saying a blowout. But Clemson is already there thinking they shouldn't have been there in the first place. So I'm calling the first round upset. Next game, Tennessee versus Ohio State. Who wins this game and why?
This sounds crazy, and I still feel like Ohio State has a more talented team. But that defense that Tennessee has, I'm going to have to go Tennessee. I'm going to say Tennessee over Ohio State. I know that's people probably think it's the other way. I think that's an upset. That's going to be an upset game right there. Tennessee is going to be Ohio State.
See, the thing is, I want to go to the quarterback, and I say, well, who has a better quarterback? I'm just like, to me, they're both mediocre. I think Nico has more upside than Howard, of course. Then I go to the running backs, and I'm like, well, I like Judkins. I like the running backs. But if you go to the receivers, but then I like Brew McCoy. You know what I mean? So that defense from Tennessee is very good. But I feel like Ohio State has not necessarily has more to prove. But coming off that Michigan loss, you know what? Coming off that Michigan loss, I'm going with Tennessee too. That's why I'm taking them, because I don't think they've recovered from getting that flag planted in the middle of their field. I don't think Ryan Day is going to have them ready to play. I don't think their minds are going to be right. And I think Tennessee can hang. And based on what I saw Oregon do, Tennessee can do that a little bit better, which means like run the ball. They have more physical, bigger running backs, more physical receivers than what Oregon has. You know what I mean? Like, I ain't gonna lie, our receivers run out of bounds. They might run 30 yards. Like Tez Johnson, I love you. And I'm not even saying that's disrespectful, but he'll run a 4.240 and then skirt out of bounds. Like, them cats at Tennessee gonna be trying to truck folks. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm gonna stick with you. I'm gonna stay with you on that one. I like Tennessee because this gonna be at Ohio State, right?
Yeah, it's going to be at Ohio.
It don't even matter. I'll still take Tennessee. I'll still take Tennessee. All right, let's go to the other side. Notre Dame versus Indiana. Who you got?
Notre Dame as well. Indiana still hadn't played nobody. I don't think they're going to be able to do anything against anybody. So I'm going to go back to Notre Dame, even though I don't trust Notre Dame either.
Yep, because, in the words of one of my favorite wrestlers of all times, let me see if I can find it here. Wait a minute. Where you at? Hold on. I gotta find him here. Where is my favorite wrestler? Because I gotta get this quote right about this game. Well, I thought I had him up here. Maybe I don't. But wait, there he is. Nope, I don't have him up here. I guess it's like where my Family Guy's like, hold up.
Oop, no clip. Oop, thought we had a clip. Nope. Okay.
But the way I'm looking at this game is Indiana, when they play anybody worth anything, they lost. Notre Dame hasn't been that great, but they've been consistently whatever they've been all year. And I look like they'll be consistently whatever they've been all year. And they'll continue to do that. And because the whole thing with Indiana, and I found it, in the words of my favorite, one of my favorite wrestlers growing up.
Enough was enough.
And we got to get these fighting Signettis up out of here because, even though I want to brag and say, oh, the Big Ten has 10 whatever. Like, no. Indiana shouldn't have been a top 12 team. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And I do want to say one thing real quick. Speaking of wrestlers, mine is The Undertaker, and I feel like he would handedly beat your boy any day of the week. But, I just wanted to throw that in there real quick.
God bless you. God bless you. God bless you.
All right. Let's go down to SMU versus Penn State. Who wins this matchup and why?
All right. Penn State by 70.
We got Penn State by 70. Yeah, I feel like SMU, I saw how they played against Clemson. Penn State's defense is better than that, and just because you get a lot of points scored on you when you play another good team like Oregon, it just happens sometimes. You know what I mean? Alabama versus Georgia was 34-28. Nobody says, "Oh, Alabama don't have no defense." Georgia don't. You play good teams, they're going to score points. That's just the way it is. If you have a good quarterback, you score points, and that's been my knock on the SEC for a while. Y'all been playing some trash quarterbacks for a while, and when you have a good one in the SEC, notice the thing. Think about it. Just go back and think about all the good quarterbacks in the SEC. How many good quarterbacks in the SEC have not won?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is we just started getting good SEC quarterbacks in the last 5 years.
Right. But what I'm saying is Joe Burrow, good quarterback, right?
Mm-hmm.
He won. Bryce Young, good quarterback, right?
Won.
He won. Tua, good quarterback, right?
Won.
And Jalen Hurts won. That's what I'm saying. Like, you know what I mean? Now, Stetson Bennett, hey, he's a gamer. He has moxie, as they like to say, right?
Hey, blue collar. He's a blue collar player.
Yeah, he brings his lunch pail to work every day, making $5 million. We gotta stop this blue collar crap with millionaires too. Like, cut it out, ESPN. Cut it out. You sound stupid. Oh, he's a blue collar guy. He brings his hard at. No, he doesn't. He brings a freaking Lamborghini. Okay, he's not working in a coal mine. He's tackling or hitting people. Like, stop it. Okay, anyway, let me get on my tangent. But I'm taking Penn State because they got a better defense. I don't think SMU is going to be able to stop the run. That quarterback is garbage. I was very upset with Oregon not being able to tackle him. That's why I will say right now, I'm so glad Alabama is not there because Jalen Milroe and that Alabama team, the way they're constructed, big running back, running quarterback who's physical, would make Oregon be like, yeah, same old Ducks. So shout out to whatever. Shout out to Sosa World checking in saying we mad because Alabama didn't make it. Yeah, well, join the bandwagon there, sir. You right there with nephew tonight. They were definitely in the top 10 to me, but the committee got it wrong. Committee definitely got it wrong. All right, man. So now we have made it to the quarterfinals. You have Arizona State versus Texas. Who wins and why?
Arizona State and Texas. I'm gonna go Texas again. Once again, I still feel like Texas has a better offense, better quarterback, better defense, more firepower on the wide receivers. That's it. Arizona State was ranked number 15 before today. So,
okay. Now, Sosa says he got SMU over Penn State. The one thing SMU does well is stop the run. Yes, they stop the run well in the ACC. We're going to have to see because I feel like the ACC wasn't necessarily as tough this year, but we're going to have to wait and see. But you said you got Texas winning, right?
Yeah, I got Texas winning on that one.
I'm taking the upset. You know, it could be a little Pac-12 bias. Mm-hmm. I think they're going to ride the bearded rhino, Big Scatterboo. Big Scatter. Is it Scatterboo? Because I don't know if I just call him Scatterboo. Because if I call him Scatterboo, I got to pause myself. But
I don't know. Yeah. They be calling Scatterboo, different.
The bearded rhino, the dude that looked like you remember Mike Allstott. That was before your time. You know who Mike Allstott is?
Nope.
Okay. Well, Mike Allstott was a very, very large white man who used to truck people in the NFL for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, yeah. So he say stop Scatterboo. Scatterbo. Okay, so I've been calling them Boo twice. Pause. But stop Scatterbo twice. You beat Arizona State. He got Texas. All right. So let's go to the. Let's go back up here real quick. So based on my first round upset, let's go to the top, man. You got Ohio State. Well, no. I'm sorry. Let's go over. And then, oh yeah, that's right. We are in the next round. You took Tennessee. Who wins between Tennessee and Oregon?
I'm gonna give that one to Oregon. Tennessee they can't score. I'm sorry, they cannot score. If you got to score at least to beat Oregon. Honestly, your offense has to be capable of doing at least 40 to 50 points in order to beat Oregon. If your defense can't stop anybody.
Okay, and I'm gonna ride with Oregon, man, for at least one round. Not even to be biased, but we got to make it to the 4. We the number 1 seed, so I like Oregon to beat whoever comes out of it. I think I took Tennessee because I don't think Ohio State recovers. I think Oregon beats Tennessee. We already played Tennessee a while back. I remember that was the Chip Kelly days, but we beat them. So we don't have that SEC fear of Tennessee like we do with like Georgia or somebody. So it looked like we got Oregon going to the Final 4 on this side.
And you took Arizona. Yeah, I took Texas. You took Arizona.
So State. I got Oregon versus Arizona State on my side, and then you got Notre Dame versus Georgia. Who you got?
I got Georgia on that one. I don't care whether they got Stetson Bennett or not. I still feel like Georgia has a better offense. Notre Dame has not played a defense all season that Georgia has. And Notre Dame has just never been consistent, period, when it comes to being either in the playoffs, championship games, or anything dealing with high-pressure games. Notre Dame has never been that team.
Mm-hmm.
At least in the last 20 years.
Got it. All right. I know I took Notre Dame because we got to get Indiana up out of there. I'm definitely taking Georgia to make it to the 4 because I need them there, so I can have people talking, on my timeline or whatnot. So Georgia's going to it. He says, shout out to Toasters. He says, Notre Dame over Georgia, quarterback suspect, and UGA defense is suspect. Oh, he's calling Notre Dame in an upset. Okay. Well, hey. Well, no, I need Notre Dame to lose that game because if Notre Dame is in the Final 4, then all my Georgia fans on my timeline will be like, y'all just beat Notre Dame. Y'all didn't play. But y'all lost. But anyway, I already know how the Georgia fans going to do. If we don't go through Georgia, it ain't going to count. You understand what I'm saying? Even though I gave y'all credit for beating TCU, and remember the quarterback's name from TCU because he's in the NFL? Right. That's what I thought. Boise versus Penn State. Who you got?
I got Penn State again.
You got Penn State. So your Final 4 is Georgia, Penn State, Texas, and Oregon. And my Final 4 is Oregon, Arizona State, Georgia, and I'm taking the Broncos. I'm taking the Broncos in an upset right here. They're going to ride Austin Genty, to the Final 4.
Well, see, here's why I disagree with you, because they both have played similar teams, but Penn State played Oregon when they were literally at their best at the end of the season. So I got to give it to Penn State because they both already played the same team and showed totally different results.
Let's be like ESPN, but what if they just got up for Oregon, and then that was their game to get up, and now they might lose to SMU. What about that?
I still don't see them losing SMU. SMU is a team that has been struggling all year.
But you already said you don't trust James Franklin.
I don't trust James Franklin, but I trust him against SMU. SMU might as well be an easy game on their schedule based off how they've been playing this year. SMU is currently, based off the rank, if you look at their schedule, the only tough game that I think they really had was in the championship was against Clemson. BYU is still not great, even though they're ranked. I'll give you BYU and Clemson, but you still almost lost to Duke. You almost lost to Louisville, and you almost lost to BYU, or you lost to BYU. Sorry, so that's your loss of the season against BYU. I can't say that's a good team, especially you almost lose to Duke.
No doubt. All right, so let's get to the left side of the bracket for the Final 4. Who's going to the national championship game? Are you riding with the Ducks, or are you taking Texas? Who you got?
I'm going Oregon again.
So you got Oregon in the national championship game, and who will they be playing? Will they be playing Georgia or a Penn State rematch?
I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna go Penn State.
Whew, okay. So
Because
you got go ahead.
Georgia still they gotta let me know what they're gonna do with their quarterback position. If their quarterback's not there, once again, I do not trust Carson Beck. But when he plays, he plays. And if he's there and he's on the play, I'll take Georgia. But I'm gonna take Penn State if he's not there. Right now, it looks like he might not be there. I'm currently gonna take Penn State and beat Oregon Penn State for the championship.
I'm trying to think. There's somebody in anime who Carson Beck reminds me of. I can't put my finger on it. Do you know who I'm trying to think about?
Look wise.
Yes, he looks like somebody in anime. I can't think of who he is, but somebody in anime. I'm just trying to put my finger on it right now, but I can't think of it.
To me, he looks like every bald, super dark hair, dark eyebrow kid that never does anything in every anime. That's what he looks like to me.
He looks like those. Well, I don't know if you watched. You didn't watch One Piece, so never mind. You're not gonna get the reference. So let me just get back to the football real quick.
Hey, I don't know nothing about overrated shows.
It's all good. Let's get to it, man. I got Oregon versus the Dogs, man. The matchup I've been looking forward to all year long. Man, I got Oregon versus the Dogs in the national championship. The rematch. We don't got Bo Nix, even though he didn't help us out the last time. In the 42-0 blowout in Atlanta. This game's gonna be in Atlanta. It's gonna be a Georgia home game again. But I got Georgia coming right back home to Mercedes-Benz Stadium playing Oregon. So you're gonna have 1 and 2 in the finals, man. So you had Oregon versus Penn State. In your scenario, does Penn State win the big game with James Franklin, or does Oregon run the table?
Nah, Oregon go ahead and get that chip. Because Penn State cannot stop the offense. Whether they can do whatever they want to do, they cannot stop y'all's offense.
Yeah, I'm gonna say we're not ready yet. And this is what I'm going to say. And this is going to be my whole point of what I'm saying. Teams that normally go 13-0 and win a national championship are normally like memorable teams. You understand what I'm saying? Cam Newton and Auburn is one I can think about. I know you got an Alabama undefeated team that you could probably think about. I'm trying to think of some other ones that have just been like memorable teams with a lot of different players that are now in the NFL, things like that. While I feel Oregon is a very consistent team, I don't feel like we're dynamic enough defensively to do what Georgia does well. And if they want to turn the ball and hand the ball off to ETN, because there was something that I noticed in that Penn State game that I think we're going to have problems with. Hand the ball to ETN, especially they put Frazier in, but he's fumble prone. But Oscar Delp, that number 44 on Penn State gave Oregon problems because our linebackers, they can play the run decently, but they cannot cover. Even though it's kind of sad that one of our linebackers can't cover, but somehow he got drafted by the Astros to play outfield. But some way, somehow, he can't cover at all. So I'm taking Oregon to lose a close heartbreaker in my city, 31-28. They're gonna kick a field goal and break the Ducks' heart today. That's my prediction. Let's see, we got some comments, man. He said, you got UJ to the championship game with a quarterback that can't throw the ball. I'm in the city, so I would not be mad. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if Carson, we don't know the health of Carson Beck. Maybe I'm just giving Georgia a little credit, but this is the game that I want. But see, what I need everybody to focus on, and this is going to be my something you can come back to in a couple of years. Number 1 recruiting class, 2025. Quack, quack. Number 1 recruiting class, 2026. Quack, quack. Our boy, Phil Knight, Mr. Nike himself, said, you got a blank check. Get it done. He wants to win a national championship before he dies. It's only a matter of time, ladies and gentlemen, If you say recruiting, like after a while, you're going to have to just make up a reason why you don't think Oregon's going to win. Because unlike some of these other people, y'all do realize we can give NIL deals through Nike, right? Did y'all know that? You're not going to be able to compete. So we can get whatever recruits we want. We have an unlimited budget to spend money. It's coming, whether you like it or not. It's happening before 2028. So I just want y'all to know, before we elect another president, Oregon might have 1 or 2 national championships, and we'll be talking about Duck Dynasty because we're going to have to recruit a quarterback and bring him up through the system to actually, in my opinion, be a legitimate team. Because right now, our entire secondary are transfers, right? Meaning all that talent that we've been getting is not being developed to get on the field yet. Jordan Birch, we recruited him. Right? We recruited him. Kenyon Sadiq, you know, Raphael Sadiq's cousin. You know who Raphael Sadiq is?
No.
Tony.
I don't know who any of these old people you keep talking about is.
Jesus Christ, man. What is up with you? You know who Lil Uzi Skirt is, though, right? Twerking and having a bag on stage. You know who that is?
I don't associate with that man. I don't know who he is.
That's what I'm saying. But I'm saying we got some players on the field who we actually recruited and who are actually high recruits.
Yeah.
We got a quarterback named Dante Moore. He was, I think, either the number 1 or the Gatorade National Player of the Year 2 years ago. Played with UCLA, Chip Kelly's last week. But he's a sophomore coming up out of Detroit. He was the number 1 quarterback. We also got some good recruits coming up. But the bottom line is, I don't like when you gotta, and that's the other thing I'm going to say, right? And I need to make this, even though I might have to go back and change my pick. I don't like when you win with transfers. Our whole secondary is a transfer. Dylan Gabriel is a transfer. I don't like that. You need to be able to win. Like when you go recruit people, that's when you have longevity and stuff. Say what you want to say about Stetson Bennett. Hey, they recruit. Well, he didn't even really get. I think he was a walk-on, right?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Right. So go ahead.
But here, I got a hot take. This is my hot take. Alabama's going to win a championship before Oregon wins. Is going to win another championship if Oregon wins theirs.
So y'all say y'all going to win next year when our 2025 and 2026 class is just getting there?
I would even bet Alabama wins 2 more championships before y'all win y'all's one.
No, not 2. I'll give y'all 1. Wait, no, in that tough SEC, that's your hot take?
Yeah, because you gotta. I did not like our coach, and I still don't care for him the most. But I feel like he puts in the work. He does what he's supposed to do. What he did with Washington, now he has a better program and more money behind this program. And he knows the Oregon Ducks pretty well. I think he can go and take care of business.
Okay.
Unless y'all get another coach.
Nah. I'm not worried about that. Real quick, I want to thank my nephew, man, for coming on the show, man, chilling with Unc for an hour and 30 minutes talking this good football. We got the first game coming up here, I believe December the 20th. I'm gonna be doing some shows in between that, but if you got time, man, come back. We'll break down what we got right, what we got wrong, all that good stuff, man. We'll have a nice little time of it, man. And I don't know, I'll make my way back to the city if Oregon make it. I ain't gonna be at the game because y'all ain't gonna pay all that money to go watch them, especially if they lose, because that's a lot of money to pay. Even if they win, I'm like, man, what I could spend on the ticket, I could get an Airbnb and some strippers and some wings and some. Well, anyway, I'll talk about that later. But shout out to you, man. You got any final words that you want to let the people know before we go ahead and shut it down, man? Shout out to everybody tuning in, man. We had a good, nice little chill show, man. We breaking everything down, what they got right and what they got wrong. You got anything to say to the people before we get up out of here?
I just want to say, thank you guys for listening in, viewers. This is, first time ever doing something like this. Hopefully to come back again. Of course, like and subscribe to your boy Saul G, Kung Fu Hebrew, one of the best out there doing what he does amazingly, you know what I'm saying? So thank you guys again, and I hope to be back. Roll Tide. We'll see y'all next year.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Like I said, man, I've been the Kung Fu Hebrew Saul G, Quack, Dan Lannon. Don't let me down, because like I told y'all, man, The team we got now is full of transfers. It ain't that team that we done built from the ground up. We tried to do it with Bo Nix, didn't work out. We got punished by Georgia, couldn't beat Michael Penix, right? So I don't feel like Oregon is ready. I want them to win, but hey, we got a team full of transfers at this point. But y'all know what time it is, man. Y'all been watching the shows. Can't even say my name right. The show. But anyway, y'all been watching the Saul G show. Y'all know what time it is, man. We gone.
Step up to the spotlight. Gather around the Saul G show for the vibes of sound. Like flash crowds scream, hearts racing fast as hype trains rolling. You know we having a blast. Coming live from the studio, energy high. Every segment lit, watch the sparks fly. Guests in the building got stories to tell. Laughter echoes loud like we under a spell. Tune in tonight, you know we about to rise. This is just a taste, man, open your eyes. It's the Soul G show where the fun never ends. Turn up the volume, make some noise, my friends. From the hottest trends to the craziest games. In this wild world, we are changing the frames. And grind, every moment we earn with ambition of fire, watch the passion burn. Interviews popping like they fresh out the pan. We keeping it moving, yeah, that's the whole plan. Get ready for the hype, we taking you higher. The Soul G show, set your spirit on fire. The Soul G show where the fun never ends. Turn up the volume, make some noise, my friends. From the hottest trends to the craziest games. In this wild world, we are changing the frames. Taking you higher, the Soul G show, set your spirit on fire. It's the Soul G show where the fun never ends. Turn up the volume, make some noise, my friends. From the hottest trends to the craziest games. In this wild world, we are changing the frames. It's the Soul G show where the fun never ends. Turn up the volume, make some noise, my friends. From the hottest trends to the craziest games. In this wild world, we are changing the frames.